Who's been working on their talent show? Because I actually bought prizes for this.
Never been. You can share that.
Hey, Jen,
Everyone
that's-
has to like somebody that
Let's.
She did, alright.
Yes, you did. You did.
Yeah.
Hey, so we'll do the talent show when we get back after lunch. So there's still time to practice and get ready for the talent. So I think I even have judges coming.
I can't see.
They're just little boys. It's not. They're my kids. They're not like your age. They're like 5. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you guys are like the same age.
Yeah.
But how you guys feeling today?
But tired.
Good. Tired.
I don't know.
Are they?
I was going to see like 3 bags of peppers.
Yes.
I love names. You guys are these moms not the best?
That's a little more energy about that, girl.
I do. Like that. Always like this idea. Yeah, well, that was really nice of you guys. You guys definitely showed gratitude to your parents. So, well, you guys, Jen is here this morning, and Jen is kind of the record setter at Baylor for the all-time best goalkeeper. She is one of the best in the country, okay, in terms of goalkeeping, and just she was Baylor's team captain, so she was a leader for the team, and just did such a great job as a person leading the girls. She's a Big 12 champion. She academically is she can tell you more. I don't mean to talk to you, but I know she's pretty smart. I know she's pretty smart. So, but she's going to just talk to you for a couple of minutes about her experience at Baylor, and then as a leader. Then we can ask her some questions. You guys got it? Yep. All right, Jen, let's give her a hand. Share, and I'm sure these guys will come in and ask you some questions. They're full of questions.
Smoking may be a tough one.
Yeah. We'll help spur out some questions.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what Marci said. So I was at Baylor for the past 5 years. It was originally going to be 4, but COVID gave us an extra year, which allowed me also to then get my master's. So that's what I'm doing currently. That's why I'm back here. I'm doing that in sport management, because after I'm done playing soccer, I would like to coach and hopefully probably coach the youth, kind of like you guys. So yeah, so throughout my career, we won my first 2 years. We started off really good. We won the Big 12 twice back to back. I don't know if that's something Baylor had done before, but if they had, it was pretty cool for us to do it. Marci was not the coach at this time. I just missed her, so I never got to be coached by Marci. Unfortunately, we maybe would have butted heads though. So
Maybe.
But yeah, so and then we went to. Do you guys know what the NCAA tournament is? Yes. So the first 2 years we went to the Elite Eight twice. So that was pretty cool. Not many teams in the nation get to do that. And then my last few years, unfortunately we didn't win the Big 12. We went to the Big 12 tournament though every single year except for COVID year because we didn't have that, so that was disappointing. But besides that, I mean, kind of like what Marci said, I don't like to talk about myself frequently, but I was a goalie, as you guys know. I was training yesterday, but I have the shutout record. I have 39 at Baylor. Couldn't get to 40, unfortunately. Couldn't make it a nice whole number, but I hold that record. And then me and my class, I think we're one of the winningest classes at Baylor. We have like 50 or something wins, which is pretty cool. But I mean, like all of us would say, it's just like all the teams coming through. You have a different team each year in college, so we didn't have the luxury of like having a team like you guys, where you guys all just stick together and play together every year. So it's a new team every year, so all those wins are with different people, but it's really cool experiences to get to know other people, kind of like what you guys did yesterday by playing the other team. I know that some of you guys were mad at them. Sometimes you didn't like the fouls that were called, but kind of like what Marci talked about yesterday, at the end of the day, you kind of all come together because at this age, you're all just young females in sport, and getting to play with each other is a privilege. So, and who knows, maybe those will be your teammates down the line. So, yeah, that's kind of.
When did you start playing?
I was pretty young. I started playing like as soon as I could like walk, basically. I had an older sister. She's 4 years older than me, so I kind of just followed in her footsteps my entire youth. In any sport, really. She swam too, so I was a swimmer up through middle school. But I didn't like swimming, so I quit and started playing basketball. But yeah, we just did it because the neighborhood kids were playing, and then I started playing goalkeeper in high school. So I started a little late. I was on the field until my freshman year, and then I had a couple coaches sit me down and said that they thought I could be good at goalie, and I trusted them. So I kind of just went for it, and then a year or so later, Baylor recruited me and gave me a chance, and then I came. It was great. So,
You know what's cool about Jen is, like she said, since she started goalie late, she's so good with her feet. I mean, you guys saw her, she played center back yesterday, but she's so good with her feet as a keeper. That's really important, and as the game is evolving to like, you know, being played more on the ground. And I mean, our team was absolutely confident to play her back the ball in all the time. I mean, she was like another defender. And they played her back times where it was sketchy as all can get out. But Jen was able to, I mean, I don't remember a time getting tackled in the box or giving the ball away or like through your whole career. I don't really remember that. It's pretty impressive. So her ability with the ball in the back is top. So
Where'd you grow up?
Brookfield, Wisconsin. So I grew up north, playing in the snow, shoveling off the fields to play. That's why I came to Texas. I was sick of the snow. I didn't really know how hot it would be, but because I was a goalie, I was like, I'm not really running. So the heat during the games didn't really affect me as much as it affected my teammates. Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin.
Jen, what do you think about like them playing other sports, like your youth?
I'm all for playing other sports. I played basketball up until the very day I came to Baylor. I played all through my entire high school career. Like I said, I swam when I was younger. Those were really the three main sports I did. But most of our teammates, like, they've done other sports. But then as you get older, and you choose to want to play, if you choose that this is a sport that you maybe want to play in college, then it's 100% still okay to play other sports. I personally, I don't know how you get, I would encourage it. It's fun. It's another friend group you can have down the line. Like my basketball teammates that I have are still some of my best friends to this day. And those experiences taught me a lot. I was a captain in basketball first before I ever was in soccer. So I had those experiences from a different sport to help me in this sport. But I just think that as you get older, like if you have to make a decision of what you want to play in college, still do the other sports, just know that you may have to then go out on your own and practice soccer. You may have to miss some practices and stuff like that. So I think it's just all about what you put your mind to, but I'm all for playing other sports.
I didn't know you were that good. I just learned something.
I like basketball.
Did you get better at it? Did you pursue it?
I didn't pursue basketball. I considered basketball like I just kind of did it and played, but that was pretty good. I was all conference. It was fun. It was helpful because I was a bit taller, but
Going into goalie, especially with being on the field so much, that was probably a hard part. You had a little bit of insecurity in the leader in fact. How is that something you can out of to get the communication out, let your team, have your team trust you?
yeah, so I played center back and then I switched to goalie. So I felt like my role as a leader and when it came to communication, it didn't really change much because I was the talker of the team while I was on the field. So it just kind of then rotated to me being the talker of the team in the back line, or not in the back line, but in goal. And then encouraging other girls who are then moving into the back line positions to also talk, because I can only say so much to the forwards or the midfielders when I'm 70 yards away from them. So just kind of still maintaining how I would lead on the field and doing that in the back and doing that in goal, and then encouraging other girls to do the back line. When it comes to insecurities, I mean, I was pretty secure, I was pretty confident, but when I switched to goalie, I mean, it was a really tough position to learn, and I felt like I wasn't as good as I wanted to be, and I was getting recruited for like, you can be good down the road, so just like keep going at it. But I mean, as a kid, that's really hard sometimes to just know that you're doing kind of poorly in something, but you can be good, and it just takes practice. But probably about like the year mark of when I first started playing goalie is when I felt like it all started coming together. And that's probably when my confidence in myself started to rise. When I switched, we had like a game, like within the switch, within like a week. So, and we had another goalie, and then she ended up, when I switched, unfortunately, she ended up quitting. So then it was really just me. So, I had to kind of fake the confidence until I had it myself, but it was probably like a full year until I felt like I was a confident goalie. And then I still had so much to learn. And I still throughout college was learning so much too.
Do you have a question?
Do you have any recommendations for girls on some kind of habit on?
I would say just talk it out. While you're on the field, sometimes things come out wrong or people don't listen, but then luckily a game is max, it's like 90 minutes. So you can kind of rough it out with those 90 minutes, and then whether it's after the game or before the next one, just having conversations and talking it out. And like, it's okay to have conflicts with your friends. The amount of like healthy conflicts during sports that I've had with some of my best friends, where we're mad at each other, but then we step off the field and we realize that we're both just trying to make the team better. Like, that's okay and that's normal, and that's just also life. Like, even without sport, like, you're gonna end up having conflicts with your friends. So I think the earlier you guys kind of learn to just like talk it out and hash it out, the better. I think it's just, being uncomfortable in it. Not everyone's a talker, and even if you are like a super big talker, bubbly person, like, it's still hard to like want to lead your team and to want to talk. So I think just like initially having to make the conscious decision to talk, even if you don't want to, and then with time, kind of like anything, it's basically like practicing talking. And then with time, it just becomes so natural. You're going to be doing it without thinking about it. But it takes being uncomfortable kind of and making yourself talk, which is kind of weird because like once make themselves talk, but that's kind of what you have. And then just like I said, with time it will come, and it's just like practice. Yes. Yes. And that's hard for probably all these moms here at some point, and Marci when she's playing pro and me in college, like, it's still like there are situations where you don't want to, or you feel like you shouldn't, but you just kind of have to step out of that and do it.
I was telling you yesterday too, like, to not even in the beginning of learning to talk, like, don't even worry much about what you're saying. It may be completely wrong or whatever, but I think the beginning of practicing it is just talking, like even if it's like,
You don't even worry about right or wrong.
Or push up, or like, and you may say the wrong thing, but you're only gonna learn how to lead, so you're able to learn how to lead, and as you get better at it, then line up maybe like at some point, hey, I know you told her to step out there, but that might have not have been the right time. But right now is not the time for you to worry about what you're saying. It's just learning to say something.
That's a good place to start. Like, Just, yeah, and that's it, just to get the comfortable.
Yeah, and also like you're 100% going to say the wrong thing. I say the wrong thing sometimes, and like we'll be in film the next day, and like because I'm to a point where like if I say the wrong thing, my defender probably would still do what I said.
Yeah.
So then we'd be in film the next day, and they're like, "Kaylee, why'd you do that?" And she probably didn't told me, or I would be like, "I told her," but in the moment, you kind of just do like what you think is best for the team, and then at the end of the day, if it's wrong, it's wrong. Like you're never going to be 100% right. And then kind of like you just touched on it, but the more you encourage your teammates and the more you're there for them when they're doing something good, the more your team is going to be responsive to then when you're holding them accountable and when you may have to say something that's tough or lead them in a tougher manner. So I think just balancing both, like you still want to be like good job when like it's not a good job, but like making sure you acknowledge the success as much as you're going to be hard on people. I think that's how you get the best responses out of people in general. When you hold them accountable, but you're also letting them know that you appreciate them and that what they're doing good things too.
We're self-accountable.
Yeah.
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 Good leadership.
You know, one thing that I just want to say about Jen, it's always super impressive is like, as a senior, I mean, any age that she was always really intentional of, even as a fifth year senior, she would go and hang out with freshmen, you know, and, she'd take someone to ice cream. It'd be even funny, sometimes I'd be talking to her, and she'd go, "Oh, so-and-so's driving me crazy." And then the next day she'd be like at ice cream with that person. And I think like that's a great thing of a leader is you're not like going by your emotions, but you're going by the fact that you're trying to build a team. It's always pretty impressive, and just not just hanging out with her little group of friends, you know, but really pouring into girls maybe she really, you know, didn't super connect with, you know. So I love that about her.
And so they know that she knows who they are, right?
And she's there for you something.
And also by doing that, you give Maze who becomes your friend. Like some of my greatest friends on the team currently are the younger girls. Like my senior year, the freshman class, like some of us got pretty close, and like those will be some of my best friends till the end. So you'll kind of amaze yourself if you reach out who you're gonna connect with.
And that's true. I'm not just in life in general, the people that I like at first I'm like, you know, but you get through something together and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, we're like get each other and you know, we're like inseparable. Because it's like I don't know, you learn more about the person than you yeah, I know you did. That's what you said.
What about you guys? Do you guys have any questions for Jen on playing at Baylor? I know some of you guys love Baylor.
Or how much time after you guys want to know?
That's a good question. So you were going through later. How much extra time did you put in to catch up?
Formation.
You started thinking for later in life. How much extra time did you have to put in versus still like Sarah to catch up?
Yeah, I mean a decent amount, but I was lucky. I mean my club practices, we had them 4 times a week, and I had goalie coaching every day. Of those days, we had a goalie coach there every time, so it was 3 or 4. But maybe the 4th was like one of the teams in our club, because our club was unique where we all practiced together, U14 through U18. So it was probably we had practice 3 times a week, and then I'd be going to like maybe an extra goalie training a different day. But really kind of with that and then games on the weekends, I just kind of was like learning. I was just going with the flow, but yeah, I was lucky. I mean, I had goalie coaches who were there every single day, so it may not have been like a lot of time. It's hard to like do goalie by yourself like at home. Like so I took that time to keep my foot skills up and to keep doing that stuff, because one, I just kind of like doing that stuff, so like that's what made me happy. And then using the time in practice to be intentional about like learning the different goalie things that I couldn't physically do by myself.
I love playing with you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I still like playing with you.
the new NIL branding in college sports, is that a distraction between like bigger sports that get a lot, or even within the same team, or there's one or two players that get that? Because I don't hear that in the news. You don't get the one-on-one perspective on how that actually affects college players.
Yeah, for us, it most definitely wasn't a distraction at all. And girls on the team who were doing it, the rest of the team was just like pumped to like see what they were doing, and a lot of girls on our team like had like jewelry brands that were like reaching out and stuff like that. And then when it comes to us versus like football or basketball, like there was, at least that I can only speak for my experience at Baylor, but there was no like animosity or issues with the bigger sports or distractions. Seeing them do more, I think that kind of like in athletics, like there's I think 500 of us, and a lot, like you're not friends with everyone obviously, but like everyone supports everyone. So when you see someone get something really cool, or someone signs with like Gatorade or something like that, like you're just really happy for them. And you also know that it's benefiting the school because they're a phenomenal athlete and doing great things. So at least in our experiences at Baylor, it has only helped us because we didn't let it be a distraction, and you're just happy for the other individuals who are getting those opportunities.
Jen, can you speak a little bit on, just for these, this is important, managing social media accounts, like the importance of the message you're putting out to the world that other people are seeing and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard this a bunch before. I know I did when I was your age, and social media was like becoming new when I was younger. But it's just really important what you put out there and how you portray yourself, because not in a scary way, but like what is put on social media really does stay there forever, good and bad. So I think just like making sure you're being conscious of like what you guys are putting out there, or even like, say yesterday you were mad at a girl, like not going and like posting an Instagram and like saying something like that, or tweeting something out or something like that. So like kind of keeping your emotions in control enough to where, I mean, you can talk to your friends about that, you can talk to your family about that, you can do whatever you want, just not putting it out there on social media where then it's there forever. Because I mean, I've seen college soccer players get drafted, which is super, super hard to do, and then have it taken away because of something they posted 6 years ago. Which, whether that's fair or not, because I know like people grow and stuff, but that's just how it works. So I think just being really conscious of like what you're putting out there and how you're portraying yourself. And I know, I mean, we had rules in college, like our social media person would basically, she followed all of us, and then if something was out there that even like it wasn't bad, but if it remotely could have like damaged Baylor's image, it would be deleted or something like that. So
social media on.
yeah, basically she was the person who like runs our social media, basically just monitors it. And I mean, for us, like we all follow our coaches and they follow us back. So like you just kind of have that in the back of your head too, like your coach is following you, so you want to be conscious of it. But even if you're not in a situation where you have specific people you want to like not censor it for, not like you guys are gonna be posting anything bad, but you know what I mean, just keep your image good.
Guys,
Our group,
we're so excited.
they're so excited for the fitness test, Mars. Don't think they wait.
Resting up.
What do you,
Starting your-
what do you do?
I mean, it's kind of like, I felt like my role like didn't, like when I became a captain, I feel like maybe changed a little, but I mean, just kind of like naturally like leading on the field, but I mean, off the field being just a little more intentional with girls, like whether like if you don't talk to them or not, like just being kind of like what we talked about before, being more intentional in creating those relationships. Because as a captain, like there's a couple, so like not every single person on the team has to like want to come to you specifically, but you have to make it available whether you want to or not, and you have to just be available at kind of all times. And then kind of being like the middleman between the team and the coaches. And I had no issue with that. Like I could go into Paul's office and tell him anything I thought or anything that the team thought. So just being able to like have the hard conversations with your coaching staff, because it's not easy as a kid to go to an adult and tell them how the team's feeling in a negative way. And also for me, like I don't lead with emotion, but I'm fairly like emotional and passionate. So sometimes I have to dial it back because otherwise it comes across as rude. So just I would dial it back and then lead with like facts, not feelings, but just being able to be that person your team trusts to go talk to the coaches about really anything that they want, like whether it's about playing or off the field stuff, like being able to not be stressed that the coach is gonna have the issue or the team's gonna have the issue. So I'd say like things like that, just kind of were like heightened once I became a captain.
When you say the coach, you appreciate feedback, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't
Yeah.
there with that, but I think the captain is your thermometer of your team, where your team's at. And it's really important to have that relationship.
So then that captain needs to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
have a big conversation.
Because no one wants someone who like isn't in tune with the team, so then it's basically just like their opinion versus the team's opinion. And sometimes like my opinion was different than the majority of the team's opinion, so but you still go with the team's opinion because that's the majority. And when you're making the majority happy, then everybody just runs.
And how do you think you I mean, the girls, like, girls, who thinks are emotional? Raise your hand.
I wanna see all of them.
Or what if you get a child and you want to retaliate? Like, who's been really mad about it? They want to go after it.
This one, Joey, to eat somebody.
So, Jen, she tell them how you control your emotions in that situation. It's hard, especially in your age. So what's your technique?
Yeah, it's hard, and I mean, there's like not one specific technique that I used in general, but I mean, just like I kind of used like the 5-second rule or 10-second rule or 5-minute rule or whatever it is, where like I would take a step back, and then if it whether it was on the field or off the field, and if it still bugs me 5 minutes later, I would maybe have a conversation about it, or so like if someone follows you and you want to retaliate, don't, obviously. We're better than that, but don't retaliate. And then in 5 minutes, if that still bugged you, or if it was a really hard follow, then maybe have your coach, or when you get older, you yourself have like a respectful conversation at halftime, or have your captain go have a respectful conversation with the ref or something like that. But not retaliating in that moment. So I would just try every time to take a step back and think about how my actions in this heated moment could affect the rest of the game. And I didn't, again, wasn't always 100% successful with that. I've gotten in my fair share of arguments, whether it was on the field or off the field, but I think just taking a step back and taking a deep breath, and then also realizing for me, like, it's like the game of soccer, like it's supposed to be fun. So that also just helped me kind of more so for like off the field stuff, just kind of take a step back and realize that this is a fun sport and you're doing it to have fun. Like you're doing it to win and you're doing it to be good, but you also want to have fun. So that helped me control a lot of my emotions, whether it was when I would be talking to a coach or a teammate, something like that.
How do you handle a hard ball?
I think just allowing yourself to be mad about it, for like internally mad about it, like you can go home and you can be mad, but as a teammate, like not pointing fingers in the moment and not like being extremely like rude or mean to people because you're angry. And I think that's just kind of in life, like a lot of bad things happen in life, but like not letting those bad things then go on to others because it's not their fault. But yeah, so for a tough loss, I think just, allowing yourself to be upset, because you don't want to just push those emotions away, because then it's all going to just build up and be there. Then maybe one loss where it kind of all just blows up. So allowing yourself that time to be upset, but then, the next day just kind of moving forward and learning from it and just not taking it out on others. And that's the same for wins too. Like if you have a huge win, like allowing yourself to be happy about it, but not too happy where in 2 weeks you're still talking about that one win, and then you down the line have even more losses or issues because exactly. So I think it goes both ways.
What about bad reps? Someone has called you want to yell at rep, how do you handle that?
Don't yell at the rep. But again, as you get older, you're gonna have, I mean, your coaches are 100% gonna advocate for you. Like for us, like Paul, Matt, and Chuck, like they always advocated for us, because they're the adults and they're not speaking for us, but they're the ones who've been there a gazillion times, so they can do that more. But and then as you get older, like you're gonna have a team captain, and they generally are kind of again like the mediator between the team and the reps. So having them maybe go have a conversation, but obviously not yelling at them in the moment, because one, that's disrespectful. Like they're just doing their job, whether it's good or bad. We've had horrible refs, and I've been very upset with refs. But just knowing that they're trying to do their jobs, not yelling at them in the moment, because that doesn't only portray a bad image of you for future times, but it doesn't look very good for your team. No one wants to be the team that's known for like yelling at refs or blaming refs. Yeah.
So that's a lot of pressure, right? So understanding that that and it, I'm curious where keys to your success, like how you not allow
Yeah, I mean, I think that like all of us, like when you're trying to be a good person, you're leading a life to just like be a good person and be like a child of Christ as well. Like I think that when you're doing those things, you don't even have to worry about the team's image, because if you're portraying yourself in a positive way, it just takes care of itself.
Well, I like that, like both of you guys are talking about stuff that gets lost. So you girls need to remember, we need to work hard, yes. We need to try and get better. We also need along the way.
Jen, how many people, do you say you get to college and take time, just like, at that time, like they kind of ride it out because they have scholarship, but it's like.
Yeah, and I mean that happens for sure. And I think, I mean, we've also had girls who have gotten to that point and then have stepped away from it because, I mean, college specifically, I mean, it's a huge time commitment and a huge physical commitment on your body to be doing something that you don't absolutely love. So I think, especially in college, like you get to a point like if you constantly like are like hating it or not loving it, like I've seen girls, my older sister played college as well, so I've seen her teammates just have to, you know, take a step back. And that's a position where my sister got to that point. She got to college, she loved soccer. She's also getting her nursing degree, which means she was constantly doing school and soccer. And she got to a point where she could have maybe had more time in soccer, but just decided that when she graduated that she was done. So, I mean, I kind of saw that love kind of go away with my own sister. So I kind of saw that secondhand with her, but yeah, especially at this age, it's supposed to be fun. And that doesn't mean if you have a hard day, you're like, gosh, I don't like soccer. That doesn't mean that you need to quit or you need to stop playing. But yeah, it's supposed to be fun. So whatever makes you happy, whether it's going and juggling on your own or going and hanging out with your teammates. Because we also have the majority of our team, if they're not liking the sport, but I mean, there's scholarships there, they're not just gonna go quit, but majority of our team plays for the teammates. And that's what keeps you going. So just look to the people on your left and your right, and that you're having a hard day, that's gonna be motivation enough to keep going, because that's, I mean, we're in college and that's how it is for pro too. Not always pro, but in general, like these are your best friends. So you like playing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to thank you and Marci and your husband for all parents talking about social media, because the kids don't listen to us. We don't know anything, but hopefully you're all sick.
I think it's a good way that
Yes.
it is trying to empower you guys to be able to do this, but no, you know, like you come from a very positive, trusting aspect. And so I think it's good.
Y'all have any questions, guys? She's been where y'all wanna be, y'all wanna do it.
Again, where you are right now.
Yeah.
Well, you guys will have, after training today, you'll have then one more opportunity with two of the current Baylor soccer players that come out to practice. To just even have all three of these girls autograph something you want signed,
Oh my
or
gosh.
just, you know, take a photo with them, or, something like that. Yes, Peyton?
Yeah.
Do you have your bobblehead
Yeah.
with
You
you?
got it. Yeah.
What's your bobblehead?
Okay, well, oh,
Yeah, bring whatever you want, and we'll bring a
Yeah,
couple
got
Sharpies,
Dang
cause
it, I should have bought a hat or like a basketball. So we could
Alright, guys, well, thank you.
I want the autograph.